I thought I'd show you this little video here. I was taking the bus for a ride yesterday, and all of a sudden started making a terrible knocking noise. So I came home. I actually was able to drive it home, and I put about 50-60 miles on it, and the last 2 miles were the bad ones. Had the radio really loud, so I don't know if it started previous to when I heard it or not, but by the time I heard it, it was pretty severe. And I went ahead and drove it home. I was about a mile away from the house. Anyway, you can see most of the parts look pretty good. They still have all the machine marks on the piston barrels. The cylinders still have some crosshatch in there. You can see a little rust in the cylinders from the bus sitting. It's bad when you let them sit. Cylinder heads look good. I was lucky it didn't damage my cylinder heads. These are really nice cylinder heads. And the problem is this rod right here, number 4. You can see a little bearing material sticking out there. This will be my first official motor blow up. You can see the rod got a little blue, definitely a loss of oil. That's number 4, which doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not one of the last rods to get oil. But as I took the motor apart, I did find something that was pretty disturbing. I thought I should show all of you. This motor was built the same time that I built Greg's 1914, is one of the reasons I'm making this video. Sort of a public service announcement. But I use the best quality parts I can get. You know, I don't really have a big choice on gasket kits or seals. You know, they appear to be fairly decent when you open the package, but you never know how they're going to perform. Back when I worked for Scooter, we did have some oil cooler seals that failed like this, and you know, we had an option of what we could use. You could always buy a more expensive seal and eliminate the issue. We don't have that option anymore. We pretty much have what we have, and this is what I found when I pulled the oil cooler off. So here's a regular oil cooler seal before it's been in service. You can see the hole diameter in that, and then here's the seal that was on the bus. You can see the hole's closed up. It's barely open there, just a tiny little passage, not enough to flow enough oil for the motor to survive. So it looks like the oil cooler seals swelled shut. I don't know if it just led to the oil temperature getting really high, or if it actually had a lubrication problem on this one rod. Whatever the case, we'll go ahead and pull it apart, and obviously we're gonna have to put a new crank in it, a new set of rods. It looks like the cam's still good, which is good because it's a K8. Hopefully the lifters are still good. We'll freshen the heads up. Probably more than likely put a new set of piston cylinders on it, or clean these and inspect them and see how they are, what they mic out at, and go from there. But if you have these seals in your motor, it might be time to pull the motor out and go ahead and replace your oil cooler seals, even if they're not leaking. These weren't leaking, so I had no reason to service them. And I really haven't had any seal issue on this motor. I mean, it seeped a little bit of oil, as you can see, but never really leaked a large amount, so I never addressed the seals. But it looks like the seals now are going to have to be something that's taken care of over time. You know, doesn't really matter if they're leaking or not. You should probably inspect the seals every couple of years to see if they're still viable and not getting restricted in the passage that the oil goes through. So that's where we're at with this. Total foobar. I guess it could have been worse. Could have lost the cylinder head. You can definitely see the shape of the combustion chamber in this piston. This one was hitting the head a little bit. Even though it was hitting the head, you can still see the machine lines at the top of the piston. So we'll clean those up and see what they look like. I don't know if I'll use that piston again. It went through some serious pounding for a cast piston. These are Malls. You can see the ring landing didn't even tighten up, so it's in good shape. It's just, you know, do you want to use it again or not? Well, I probably have another set somewhere, so that's where we're at with this. We'll get it up on the bench and we'll pull it apart. We'll do an autopsy and make sure there's no weird stuff like a, you know, plugged oil journal or anything like that. I'm suspecting the oil cooler seals were the culprit here. So that's where we're at. You can see a little bit of bearing material right there, a little copper. So we'll get it apart and see what it looks like in there, and hopefully there'll be some savable parts. Hopefully the case is the one savable thing. That was the new engine case. So either we'll go back together stock, or we'll bore it to 94s and build a 1914. I do have those 049 big valve heads. I was thinking about selling those. I might go ahead and just build the bigger motor for the bus, build a 1900 for this. Also thought about putting the 2110 in here. It's a little stout. It would probably be a waste in a bus, so I think I might save that motor for the sedan, or maybe sell it. I don't know. But that's where we're at with this. We'll try to get this apart and the next few days, get it over on the bench, and we'll make some videos on it, and we'll build another motor together. So that's where we're at with this one. And don't forget to check your oil cooler seals if you've had them in your motor for any amount of time. So that's a bad way to lose the motor right there.